labeled as a hater. It's gonna be some people that's labeled as a rider. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all type of people. But that's just chatter in the background. Just
Don't
gotta
lie
do
on me,
some
though,
work too.
Chico. That's all I'm
Yeah,
asking. Tell them people don't lie on me. Like
yeah,
Mario Stanfield, he may have just come into the chat late, but I clearly stated who the 6 losses were. Did I not?
yeah. Go ahead, go through it again. Then go ahead, go through it one more time for us.
Nebraska, the losses are I gave the wins, so the losses would be the other teams, but TCU, USC, Oregon, UCLA, Oregon State, and Utah.
Hold on, let's stop right there. Let's go. Let's go through them real quick. All right,
Sure.
TCU, the first one. You said that's gonna be a loss.
I said it was a loss, and I would like to now explain.
Okay.
I say simply it's a loss. Didn't say it was a blowout. Didn't say they're gonna beat them by 90. I just considered a loss. Here are the variables of why I say that. Does it
Hmm.
not mean that Colorado can win? Sure, they can. I simply say it's a loss because they are a team who, yes, I know they lost a lot, but you're bringing back a quarterback that was on that roster. You're bringing
Okay.
back guys that were on that team, right? You're bringing back guys, and they're playing it at home. It's going to be the biggest game in the country, right? It's going to be prime time, no pun intended. And I don't know. This is why I say this, because this is what I don't know.
Hmm.
Even though you're bringing in all of those great players that you guys have at Colorado, this will truly be their first war together. This is their first experience together. They didn't even play a spring game together. They're gelling, they're bonding. But you know, Chico, as well as I know, that when those stadiums get the lights get big, I'm not saying it's too big for those players, but how do they work in tandem? How is it when Shador, when you know this receiver, and I look at you, I could look at you and I know what time it is. I don't have to say a word. When I look at this person, yes, can that happen with people? I'm just giving examples of why. Second is TCU gonna give you their best, just like Colorado gonna give you their best. I just think it's a huge stage. You coming out the gates with the defending or the runner up to the national championship, and that's all. That's the only reason. I'm not saying they're gonna beat them by 1,000. It may be a late field goal. I just feel that it's going to be that way. And I know we spoke about that a little bit,
Hmm.
and I'll let you if you want to go into that, but we can go down that list. And that's all I'm saying. I don't think I don't think I'm too far out of bounds.
Well, I'm
But
not.
people call you a hater. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not too far ahead in the rest of the schedule, but I can comment on my opinion on the first game and the reason why. I think it'll be a Colorado win, and like you said, it could be about a field goal or it could be a blowout. Who knows? I'm not discrediting TCU and the talent that they have and the team that they have, but I am giving credit and just respecting the fact that you don't know who you have coming in here with Coach Prime, with his staff, and what they're really, really, really looking to bring. You can go study all of the film, like we said earlier. You can go study all of the film you want to, and usually what you'll do is you'll go back, you'll study the offensive coordinator's film and the defensive coordinator's film, and you'll try to compile something from there. Well, here is a situation where you have an offensive coordinator and an offensive analyst, defensive coordinator, and a defensive analyst, which is where their influence is going to be all over this offense and defense. With Pat Shermer coming over with his offensive schemes and wide receiver motions out of the wide sets. You got
Sure.
Dennis Thurman, who ran the number one defense with Jackson State with Coach Prime. He's going to have input, and he didn't only do that. He was a former defensive coordinator with the Jets, college football great. So you got a lot of influence on this Coach Prime staff, and then you pair that with, like I said, those hand-picked pieces who are hungry dogs ready to go. They're not guys, not a lot of guys coming out of high school who might be afraid of those lights that's going to be going down in at TCU, which I don't think is some of the biggest and brightest lights in college football. I
Mhm.
played in that stadium on that field. It's not going to be too big for Shador Sanders and the rest of that team. They're going to be like caged dogs ready to come out and ball out. And like I said, they're
And,
fighting for
and
something.
correct. And to your point, I just see somebody put in here, and I've said this before. It's funny how somebody brought up the Colorado last year. I don't know, it's somewhere in the chat. I can't see it. But I just made a statement. It's funny how this year's Colorado team doesn't want you to use the 1-11 team because it's not the new team. So you can't use that comparison. but yet they'll use the 1-11 team to compare why they're going to beat TCU. Does that
Um,
make sense what I'm saying, Chico? Like
well,
somebody like they literally just wrote in here. Last year, Colorado had TCU such and such at the half, but that's using last year's team
right,
to say
right.
why. And to me, let's put things in context.
Mhm,
Back to Stony Dykes. That was his very first game.
mhm.
So in the very first half of that game, he's truly trying to see what he has. I'm not saying he couldn't have lost that game, but I made this comparison that the Sony Dykes that was sitting in that coaching chair that day is the same thing as Coach Prime. Now, that's not a hateful statement. I'm just making a comparison to say now Coach Prime is truly going to be sitting in that same seat the first half to really see what his team has. I think that's a fair comparison. So
DLW. Make sure you stay tuned for more lives, more exclusive content. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment. Check out the playlist and the podcast. Be sure to follow on all social media. You already know what to do, man. Like, subscribe, comment, all the other good stuff. We're about that thing. Peace and babies. Yeah!